and gentlemen, what the world's been waiting for, what the world needs now, the one, the only, amazing, original Johnny Blaze. Often imitated, but never duplicated. Here's Johnny.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome you all to the amazing original Johnny Blaze Show. It's always great to be here as I blaze right in with my karate kick. Let's have a blazing hot fun time. A wise man once said, marriage is spending the rest of your life with someone that you want to kill and not doing it because you would miss them. A man walked into a lawyer's office seeking advice. The name of the firm is what was called Goldstein and Associates. During the consultation, the man asked the lawyer, "How many associates does your firm have?" The lawyer replied, "I have two, my daughter and my son." "What are their names?" the man asked. "My daughter's name is Sue and my son's name is Bill." A divorced dad bought a lottery ticket. Later that day, he got his son on the phone and told him the news. The boy replied, "Hey, Dad, what are you going to do if you win this lottery?" My dad answered, "We'll travel to Europe together, and I'll drink the finest wines and make love to beautiful women." "But what if you lose?" asked the son. Well, the dad replied, "I'm going to travel to the nearest liquor store and drink a cheap beer and beg your mom for sex." What is the difference between a taxidermist and a tax collector? A taxidermist puts stuff in. A tax collector takes all your stuff out. I grew up in a poor neighborhood, and we were so poor, whenever someone would sit on a garbage can, my mother would yell out, "Hey, you get off our roof." We have a blazing hot fun show with a special guest. He's a songwriter, and he's a published author. So please give a big warm welcome and say hello to the one and only DOAK Turner.
There we go. Live in person.
Yes. Welcome to the amazing original Johnny Blaze Show, DOAK Turner.
It's a pleasure to be here. I've been looking forward to this for a couple weeks, man.
That's wonderful. I feel the same. It's always great. Well, DOAK, yeah, I had to do my monologue first. Okay, that's okay. Anyway, you look fantastic. I'm glad you made it. Give me a rundown, DOAK. Tell me the DOAK Turner story. How did you get started in entertainment, and where are you from?
I am from a town called St. Albans, West Virginia, right outside of Charleston, West Virginia. 1982, to give you a little background, I grew up at high school locally and all of that good stuff. I didn't know what I wanted to do, didn't have a whole lot of confidence and self-confidence inside. Early 1982, a friend came to our house to sell my mom Amway. I said, "Hey, I'd like to try that." Started going to Amway meetings, started learning, started getting these books and tapes. Magic of Thinking Big, Think and Grow Rich, The Power of Positive Attitude, How to Win Friends, Influence Others. All of these that changed my thinking. Switch forward to early September of 82. After reading these books, it's like, okay, that's what you do. You find goals. You go for goals and work them for success. You help others. Zig Ziglar said in one of these books, in order to get what you want out of life, help others get what they want. So I was going down the interstate. I was on a job, manufacturer's rep into building materials. So I grew up with an architect. My stepdad's an architect, Jerry, and working for manufacturer's rep. And I hear a Donna Summer song. That's right, Donna Summer changed my life. I hear this song on this new radio station. I'm flipping stations. Usually it was 100 and then 105. I'm flipping. Remember the little radio dials, Johnny? And right there at 102, I hear this Donna Summer, Finger on the Trigger. I'm like, I start dancing. Oh, man, we got us a cool radio station playing disco. At the end of Finger on the Trigger, I hear this announcement. We're a new radio station looking for salespeople. I'm like, that would be fun. And I write the phone number down. I'm on my way down to my stepdad's architecture office. They're listening to the AM station. And he said, hey, there's a radio station looking for salespeople. I'm like, okay, God, I get it. 15 minutes. I get the same number and I called the station. Next afternoon, I went up and met with the sales manager. Again, this is Charleston, West Virginia. And I'm talking with him a little bit, like, no, I've never sold radio, but I know I can do it. Give me the opportunity. And at the end of that, I said, one of the only closes I knew, I said, so do I start next Monday or Tuesday? And he kind of laughed. He said, I like you. You need to meet the general manager. I said, but he's gone for the evening, but I said, well, tomorrow morning or afternoon. And so I went for that meeting, and the next week I started selling radio advertising, and that that changed my life. And I told the sales manager, general manager, I want to call on the civic centers here in Charleston and Huntington. I want to work with promoters. Help me learn how to do that. And so I started building a relationship with both the Charleston, West Virginia, and Huntington, West Virginia Civic Center, and got to find out the promoters are bringing concerts. I'd call them up, start building a relationship, and went from there. And 40 years later, that's the foundation, Johnny, of how I got started in the whole entertainment business.
Wow. So you're saying that working in a radio station, being a radio salesman, that set the stage for you to be successful as a promoter of music, right?
Well, yeah, I learned how to work with promoters, how to build relationships with them. I myself was never a promoter bringing concerts. They were my clients. And with that, I built relationships, worked promotions. I would most of the time have a backstage pass to go meet the bands and things like that, build a relationship with those promoters the day of the shows, and so forth. That started in Charleston, West Virginia. I had a great time, developed a great relationship, a great reputation of someone that was not just an order taker, but came up with ideas to help them sell tickets. And knowing my radio station could do the right promotions for them. And so that was a lot of fun. And then in 1987, I moved to Charlotte, North Carolina, a bigger market. I'd been wanting to move to Charlotte for several years, and our radio station bought a station in Charlotte, and I moved to Charlotte, and that expanded my horizons. And but in Charleston, working with concert promoters, one of the unique things that I got to do is I built a relationship with Jim Crockett Promotions. They used to bring the wrestlers in the mid 80s, 90s, but in the mid 80s, bring them to West Virginia. And what I did get to know that promoter, I said his name was Sandy Scott. He was in Charlotte. And I sold him some advertising, my enthusiasm with our station and everything. I said, Sandy, what time do you guys come in on Friday? Had to match that upcoming Friday. He said, and I can remember it to this day, flight 314 arrives at 3:15 in Charleston, West Virginia. I said, I'll be there. I'll pick you up. You don't have to get a taxi, down to the Civic Center to your hotel. So I built a relationship with Sandy. The next time he came to town, a month later, he said, DOAK, I need a ring announcer when we come here. I said, Sandy, I got you covered. I'm thinking, what did I just say? I'll be a ring announcer. So it was funny. I had a tuxedo shop. There was a client. So I went and got a tuxedo. Next time they come to town, man, I got the tuxedo. I get up in the middle of the ring, 8,000 people, and I'm the ring announcer for the next couple years in Charleston and Huntington. I built a lot of great relationships and friendships in the wrestling business there.
Wow.
Which, who would have thought I'd be in the middle of a ring with a tux with these big 300-pound guys going back and forth. And I'm sitting right there, that was a lot of fun. And the stories are in my book.
That's phenomenal. That's really amazing. Thanks for sharing that, DOAK. Life is like a box of chocolates. You never quite know what you're going to get. Hopefully it's something sweet. I remember from Forrest Gump. Remember?
Absolutely.
Tom Hanks, right?
Yeah, one of my favorite movies.
That's right. A great movie. So here you are getting a radio job. You're selling advertising, and then one thing leads to another. Before you know it, now you're in the ring as a wrestling announcer. Wow. That's really something. That's blazing and amazing. And so
Yeah,
it sounds
I
like you
mean,
met
well,
quite
you
a
just
few.
ask. You just
What's
ask.
that?
I mean, here's the way I thought when I said, "Hey, I could do that," because a few years earlier, when I was in my teens, I was a baseball announcer at a field right behind my house, basically in City Park in St. Albans. You know, the second baseman wearing number 15. You know, announce his name. I was the announcer. If I could do that, I could do it in the ring. I got that ring. Like, what in the heck am I doing? But I'm going to have fun doing it.
So you basically never did it before, but it's called on-the-job training. You just picked it right up, right there, right?
Fake it till you make it, and just pray about it and have confidence that you can. And
Wow.
some of the guys worked with me to help me develop, to be better, at that job. And I'm still friends with a couple of the wrestlers from 30 years ago.
That's really phenomenal. Yeah, talk to me about now. You have met many celebrities, and uh, in music, and also of course, and athletes, and you met many people. Talk to me about the various experiences you've had in meeting celebrities and athletes, and tell me all about that.
Well, from that radio sales job, and getting to hang around the music business, get to meet some of the artists. I mean, so one of the first ones was Journey when they first came to Charleston, West Virginia after the show. Like I say, I developed a relationship with the promoter, and he'd give me backstage passes. And from Paul McCartney to West Virginia, the Moody Blues, Ted Nugent, Journey, as I mentioned. Now, a fun one I did with the Beach Boys, everybody's favorite band. The Beach Boys were coming. Me and my general manager had dinner with the promoter a month or two in advance of the show. Got to know him. Hey, we'll take care of the promotions. We're your station. We can do it. We're the presenting station. We're welcome station. And so got to know the promotion manager working with him. And they called me up about a week before the show. We were already giving away AMC Jeep was sponsoring the tour. And so we're giving away a Jeep that night, the night of the show. Promoter says, we need some cheerleaders to get on stage with the Beach Boys. Can you do a contest? The cheerleaders, he wanted more promotion. I'm like, I got you covered. Don't worry, I got the best cheerleaders here. And what I got to do is go to my alma mater, my high school I'd graduated from about 7 years earlier. I got to go down and ask the girls at their practice. The guy in charge was an old friend of mine. He's coaching the cheerleaders. And I asked them if they could put together a routine. This was like a Thursday and the concert was Tuesday. And they said, sure, we'd love to do it. So I got to give back to these girls, and their parents and so forth at the school. So the cheerleaders ended up, we had them, I was in charge of when it came to the Civic Center. We did a really great meet and greet with the Beach Boys. The Beach Boys were the best at posing for pictures and autographs and everything. And I led the girls out when it's time when they played, getting ready to play Be True to Your School. They did a great job to put in a routine to be true to your school. So that was a fun night, being able to give that a lifetime memory to them. Because I've been blessed. I like to, share blessings when we can. So, and I'd met Kiss and people like that. Like I say, all of the wrestlers, Ric Flair, Nikita Koloff, the Road Warriors, Dusty Rhodes, people like that. Some of the listeners here, may remember great memories with them. And that was in, some of the favorites in Charleston, West Virginia. And then in 1987, I moved to Charlotte. And in Charlotte, the first year we had a light station, Neil Diamond, Streisand kind of thing. And then in January of 88, we became what we called a Turbine station, Top 40 Urban. And I started calling on the urban promoters that were bringing the hip hop. Remember the early hip hop guys, Salt and Pepper, people like that, and Prince, and just a bunch of those people. Run DMC, MC Hammer, Flava Flav, all of those good people. I'm hanging out with them. All those people before the shows and during the shows. I walked out from the dressing room with Bobby Brown, and he and I are talking as he's walking out to the stage. But I had a lot of good times with Prince's people. I never officially shook Prince's hand. I was 3 feet from him a time or two. Got to see his sound check. And hung out with Billy Sparks and the whole Prince team. I was their go-to guy for for Charlotte, North Carolina. I picked him up at the airport, picked Billy when he was coming. Billy's the guy that wore the white sunglasses in the movie Purple Rain. He owned that club, you may remember.
Wow.
And I remember he told Prince in that movie, said, "Ain't nothing but a business kid." And that's exactly what the entertainment world is. It's a business.
That's happy memories. You met Journey, you met Paul McCartney, you met quite a lot of other people. Right?
Yeah, with the Paul McCartney, after I'd moved to Nashville, I was pursuing the songwriting dreams and goals, and I had a couple of businesses, and I built a big database for a couple of my businesses to help people navigate the music business. I moved to Nashville, like I say, going after the songwriting dream and so forth in 2002. But about 2013, if memory serves me correct, I was at a birthday party, and a friend came up to me and said, "DOAK, I need your help." I said, "What's that, Suzanne?" She said, and she was connected with Paul McCartney and his crew, said, "Paul McCartney's coming next month to Bonnaroo, a huge festival just outside of Nashville, about 75 miles away." And said, and then we have an opportunity to raise money for what's called LIPA, Liverpool Institute of Performing Arts. And Paul McCartney's very involved with that. She said, I need to sell 30 people that will pay $2,500 to get on a bus here in Nashville, exclusive bus, go to Bonnaroo. We'll have our own tent, everything like that, and meet Paul McCartney. Everyone will get to meet Paul. And with my database that I had with my business, Nashville Muse and Music Starts Here, I had 30,000 people or so in there. And
Wow.
So I set out a special delivery that said, if you'd like to go meet Paul McCartney, here's the contact information, $2,500, limited to 30 people. And I had told Suzanne, I said, at this party, I said, "I'll help you, be glad to help you. If it works, my promotion works, and you have a ticket, I'd like to go be part of it. But I'm going to send it regardless. I'm not going to charge you. We'll help you out," because she was a friend. And after that email went out, and I put it out some social media and some professional organizations. She called me back, said, "You are so going, dope." So we're like already sold this thing out the first day or two. And so I helped her arrange everything with the bus. And the day of the show, everybody shows up in Nashville at a BMI parking lot. And we get on the bus, we go to Bonnaroo. It's so funny, Johnny. She had a TDOT truck, Tennessee Department of Transportation, in front of the bus and behind the bus. The lights are flashing. It's 5 o'clock rush hour, and the traffic starts parting. I called her the blonde Moses. As we took off down the interstate, people are pulling to the sides. They have no idea who's in this bus, but they're pulling apart. We go backstage. We go in a big tented area. Paul and his people come in, and we individually bring people up to meet Paul. He could not have been any nicer. And he said, "I'm not going to sign autographs. I'm not going to pose individual pictures. We'll do a team picture." And he brought his people in to take a picture with everyone. And he and his wife are in the middle of it. And everybody says, "Yeah, put your hands up, yay." And it's a great picture. It's on my website. I think it's in my book too. And we watched the show from a platform on the stage. There's 80,000 people in the audience.
Wow.
And here we are right up on stage, 20 feet from him, watching the show. And we get on the bus afterwards. And they had the exits cleared and everything for us to make our way in and make our way out. Again, how do you do that? You help people. You take chances. You build your own business. You develop a database. You be useful to other people. And it was a business to me.
That's what I want to ask you. What's your secret of being so successful in networking with people? I know that you went ahead and you had 120 events at your home. You hosted 120 events at your home for 9 years. You did that. Talk to me about that, those experiences. And I mean that's quite a successful, quite a great experience. It's really a success. It's really something.
Thank you. It's kind of crazy. When I moved to Nashville, the fall of 2002, I moved into a house owned by Stephen McClintock and Tim James. Stephen's a very successful hit songwriter. He worked with Tiffany and a bunch of people. He toured with her on her first tour. She recorded a bunch of his songs. But he and his business partner, Tim James, owned a house in West Nashville, and they moved out to Long Beach, California, in LA area. And a friend of mine, Gary Talley, was renting that house. And Gary, you remember the Box Tops? The song The Letter and Soul Deep and so forth, or I Like a Baby. I'd met Gary a couple of years early. He's a guitar instructor, and they still have the band, the Box Top. But Gary told me, he said, "Doak, live in this house, I need a roommate." And he knew I was coming up, and we'd built a friendship over a couple of years. And so that's where I moved when I moved to Nashville. So Brook Hollow Road in Nashville. And I got this idea because in Nashville, we help each other, that music community, songwriting community. I had invited some friends over that December. I said, we all got to get together, get to know each other, help each other. We are like the class of 2003. We got here in 02, late 02. Again, just developing relationships. Well, that March, I came up with an idea to invite everyone over. I was kind of lonely, wanted friends to come over. I missed Sunday dinner with friends or family. I said, everybody bring a covered dish and come over. And it happened to be on the third Sunday of March, 2003. We came over it. I called it Third Sunday at 3. Come over to the third Sunday at 3. You do it once. We had a good time. Let's do it again next month. The third Sunday. And I started developing this Third Sunday at 3. And for the next 112 consecutive months, we had Third Sunday at 3. About 100 or more songwriters would come over, bring food. I mean, I secured a deal with Bojangles Chicken, and they would give me 80 pieces of chicken and vegetables and sweet tea to add to everyone's potluck dinners. And everybody eats, and they play songs in 4 different rooms and outside of the Brook Hollow residence. And thank God there was a church across the street, had a big parking lot. I'd secured that for us to use, for everybody to park. So for the next 112 months, until it was time for me to move out of that house, we had a monthly party. If you were out of town and you wanted to come to meet people, you would come to town that third weekend to be there. And a lot of people that were just starting were there. We developed a lot of friendships. And some of the hit songwriters started coming over, and they would get to know some of the people and play. It was like a lot of wow moments, Johnny, and it built a relationship for a lot of people. It's a safe place to go. And it was, eat, play songs, have some beverages. We did that. But that first April 2003, I came up with another idea, Johnny, that I did for 7 years in a row. There was a big event called Tin Pan South that happened every spring in Nashville. Nashville Songwriters Association International, NSAI, had a whole week where you could go 10 different venues and see hit songwriters every night. They'd have like 10 venues a night playing these writers.
Wow.
And I said on that Sunday, let's do something. I came up, I went that first year, I went and got 50 pounds of barbecue. I said, I'll go call it the Guitar Barbecue. Everybody bring a covered dish or beverage, and we're going to have some barbecue. And over, 100, 150 people showed up that first year. The next year, 200 showed up, 250. They kept building. The second year on, I would sell sponsorships to help pay for this. And I'd buy 100 pounds of barbecue. And people from all over would come for that. Big hit writers, publishers, people new to town, people there for the last day of their week for the songwriters. And it just kept growing. And in 2009, I had 650 people show up. I'm like, I can't do this anymore.
Oh, so
I
how
got
many?
two
Okay,
bathrooms here.
the first one on your at the home, you did 112 of those, right?
The
But
third Sundays. And once a year I would do the guitar barbecue at the end of the end of the Songwriters Festival.
and you
And that
played a
would
little
be the
guitar
Sunday.
yourself, didn't you? Okay, you played a little guitar.
So that's 120 total at my
Wow.
house right there that I publicized.
So it was 120. I thought it was 112, but it's 120. Okay.
Yeah, it's 112 third Sundays,
Oh,
plus the once a year guitar barbecues
oh.
that brought a lot more people.
And so how many of those once a year ones?
Seven until 2009, and it got too big. I mean, I
Oh,
guess 650 people. Yeah, that's.
so it got too big. So what happened? Did you stop doing it when it got too big?
I stopped doing the annual, but I kept doing the monthly until I
Okay.
think July of 2012, when Steven sold a house and I moved to another house and didn't want to, couldn't host the parties anymore. We just had the ideal house. 2 or 3 rooms upstairs to play, an old former studio downstairs, so you had 2 rooms there. We had food in the garage and a deck and a whole big yard, about a half an acre. And people would bring their guitars and sit around and play their original songs in different groups, different rooms.
That's fantastic. Now you play a little guitar yourself, right? Did you teach
I
yourself?
do. I do some, yes.
Okay.
I don't go out and perform a lot or anything now, and that wasn't my big thing. Yeah, I have played and had a lot of fun.
Now you're a song. Okay, as a songwriter now, how did you get into writing songs? And you have any favorite? You have any favorite artists or singers and songwriters who have inspired you at all as a songwriter?
Absolutely. Absolutely. My earliest memories of music, of hearing something, it's like, it's a question I ask people is, what's your earliest memory as a kid? I just remember hearing Stevie Winwood, Give Me Some of Lovin', the voice of Bill Medley and Bobby Hatfield, the Righteous Brothers coming through the radio. All of that early stuff influenced me. Now, the songwriters, when I learned, Bernie Taupin, wrote these great Elton John songs. Um, uh, there's just so many writers, and everyone listened to the Beatles and things like that. Those are Harry Chapin, seeing and meeting Harry Chapin and listening to his stories live. That was just a wow moment. And meeting some of the people that wrote the great songs, the artists and so forth. That's what inspired me here. And then listening to music in the 80s and 90s, I got into country music listening to it because I worked with a radio network called NASCAR Country. I helped build that, syndicated from 100 up to 300 stations we added to the network. So I'm listening to country music. We'd interview an artist from Nashville, and then and I was living in Charlotte, and they would interview the NASCAR guys. We put them together for what we called fastest 2 hours of radio. I was working for a sports marketing company. I was syndicating and sold sponsorships. And so I got into country music. And in the 90s, the 80s and 90s, those country songs, they told stories. Foolhardy Memory by my friend Byron Hill. That was George Strait's first #1. And all kinds of stories. Story songs made me, you just see the pictures. And in 1989, I just started writing some lyrics. I started strumming on a guitar that my brother had, his cheap guitar that I brought to Charlotte with me. And a bunch of lyrics just started coming. So I didn't know what to do, is just keep on writing my feelings. And a trip to Nashville in 1996, I came across something going down the street in Music Row, said Nashville Songwriters Association. So I stopped in, went up, said, what do you all do? I write lyrics. I want to be a songwriter. What do I do? And so I joined, and I started my own local workshop here in Charlotte. They have workshops all over the country. And I started running a workshop here in Charlotte, built that. From time to time, we'd have professional songwriters come, hit writers, publishers to help us learn the business. And I read some books that changed my life. So that's a basic, maybe a short story made long, but yeah, that's how it started. That's the
That's very
foundation, I
interesting.
guess.
When you write now, you write songs. Is it words or music first, or is it both? What?
For me, it's usually the lyrics are my strength, writing my feelings out. Whatever I'm thinking, I'm a lyricist. For the most part, it was my strength. I mean, now I can play guitar to be inspired, but the lyrics and my feelings come out, and I have thousands of ideas, thousands of songs, lyrics that I've
How
written.
many songs would you say all total that you've written as a songwriter?
Well, with the lyrics, I probably have 1,000 ideas, but songs I've put together, over 100 that I've recorded, I've co-written. See what happens, it's like, Bernie Taupin wrote those great Elton John songs. He wrote the lyrics, Elton John wrote the music. For me, my strength was always the ideas, and we do what we call co-writing.
Well, yeah, I was
I
going to
come
ask you
in with
about that.
someone,
You collaborate with anybody? I was going to ask
yeah,
you about that.
collaborate, co-write,
Oh, okay.
and I, my strength is bringing the ideas to you, and people are better playing guitar or keyboards, and together we talk about ideas and start strumming guitars and try to put a melody together with an idea and work on that back and forth. And you know, that's the power of co-writing. Two or three of us, may get in a room, toss ideas, somebody starts strumming, or somebody may come in with a melody, and okay, this is how that melody's hitting me. And I just start coming up with the words or the mood or whatever.
Would you
So
say is it
there's no
based upon
definite way.
experiences? Is your songwriting based upon your own experiences, your ideas?
A lot of them. And then we do what a friend of mine calls, we make stuff up too. We can
Oh,
start with an idea, then what if this happened? What if that happened? Well, this happened to me. Okay, let's write that story. And as you're writing it, we used to say, do not let the truth get in the way of a great song. So this may have happened, but boy, what if this would happen? That would be a better story. So
it takes a special talent. Not just anyone can do that. It takes a special talent to be able to combine lyrics and music and put it together. I mean, I've interviewed many people, singers and songwriters, but it does take a special talent. Not just anyone can do that. I know that.
yeah, a lot of times it's therapy, what you're feeling, Johnny. And the earliest songs that people write are usually based on a girl or a guy. It's
Now, when you write your
a
songs,
girl broke your heart or something like that, or you want to express your love in a song
you
or
like to
what.
tell stories in your songwriting. You like to tell stories. It sounds like.
Absolutely, absolutely. I love to tell the stories in the
And you
songs.
prefer country music, or is it rock and roll, or is it pop, or is it classical or jazz, anything like that, or folk,
Yeah,
anything? Okay.
for me, I just write the best song I can. It's you just write a song you're proud of and you have fun writing. And sometimes you want to make it special. For me, I like to, sometimes write a song as a tribute. I wrote a song to Kathy, my awesome woman. Her dad, I think that you've heard the song, but he broke the mold. It's about her dad that is a Korean War veteran. He was in a wreck. A train hit his Jeep in the Korean War, and he was told he'll never walk again. And they would try to take his legs, like, no, I will get my strength back. He made it back to North Carolina. He worked hard to develop his leg muscles again. And the man ended up became a policeman, a police chief, a sheriff. He sold 1 million cars. He worked hard. He was just an incredible man. And one trip I was coming back from Nashville back to Charlotte, and I was on the interstate. I just remember it just started coming to me. He broke the mold. God broke the mold when he made OC. Because those old guys, those people came up through the Depression or fought in the wars, there's nobody like them anymore. They were tough. And that just started coming to me. I just started writing all of these ideas. His history of growing up in a small town and going to war and coming back and what he did. And I took the idea, I just wrote several pages of notebook, pages, ideas that came to me. I didn't edit, I just started writing. I sent that idea to my friend Mark Allen Barnett, that is an awesome songwriter in Nashville. And together we kind of fleshed it out. Mark put together a melody, went in the studio and recorded it. And a couple years ago, I had that song and the melody and everything, the demo, finished demo. I said, I wanted to do a video for him. And Nosy had never heard the song. And through another friend, his friend made, again, building relationships. His friend did videos at very reasonable price. Just send him your pictures, email. So we sent him a bunch of pictures and he helped put it together to tell the story. And that Christmas morning, I think 2021, OC and his wife Betty they were living with us. And that Christmas morning, we put it up on the big screen. I put it up on YouTube and played it for him. And he saw his whole life flash before him in 4 minutes of that song, with about 50 pictures and the words and his story. It was a true story.
So it's a true story about this guy that this he broke the mold. Wow.
Yeah. And the thing, Johnny, is I looked at OC at the end, he said, this is a tough man. He's been through everything. He was fighting cancer. He would go through everything. He said, it almost made me cry. I said, darn it. I was hoping you'd cry a tear or two watching this. And so, we got a lot of joy out of it. Wow. And a lot of people have seen the video. I think you've heard the song. Yes,
that's very emotional. That's a great song. He broke the mold. In fact, I've told people, like I often say to a friend, when you're creative, the mold was broken. So that's, I love that idea. I think it's creative. I think it's catchy. And
so you never know where it's going to come from. I have it on my phone and I got huge notebooks of ideas. One idea, I'll be watching TV, somebody says something. That would make a great song. I just write it there.
There's another song that you did. It's called I Spoke to God?
I Talked to God.
I Talked to God. I
Talked to God. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Tell me about that. How did you go about creating that? That's also a very entertaining and catchy song.
Yeah. That was an idea I'd written down. Just the idea. I talk to God. What do you tell God? What do you say to God? What does anybody say to God? And I had a co-write with my friend Rob Wolf and his friend Lauren Sanders. We wrote it in a studio in an office, a publishing office in Nashville. And they started playing keyboards, and I said, "What do we say to God? What are you telling?" And then, of course, and then in the song, it's God's coming back and He's talking to us. And so we wrote that song. I really loved it. Pitched it around a little bit. A friend of mine that I'd met, she said, "I'm producing an artist. Send me a couple songs. Send me some Christian songs." So that was one of the songs that I sent. This lady named Mary Burke, who's an independent Christian artist. She plays a lot of churches and so forth. And a year or two later, after it was on her album, she started promoting it. And unfortunately, my buddy Rob passed away. So he wasn't here when she recorded it. She made a video. It got on the radio. It got on the country Christian chart, and it went to #1, the country Christian chart. So,
wow,
it was yay for that, yay for God, yay. And the funny thing was, Rob was Jewish, and when I called and told his wife, I said, "Rob's got a #1 Christian song," and she said, "So that's pretty good for a Jewish kid to have a #1 Christian song."
Wow.
And so that was a gift. And so I got that, leading, I guess, toward, I got that goal. And that happened after I moved back from Nashville.
Wow.
Because I left Nashville in 2017, came back to North Carolina.
You were in Nashville for about 15 years, right? Is that right?
Sir. 15 years living there, 6 years prior going back and forth, and a couple years. I moved back here in Carolina in 2017. And for the next 2 years, I was going back and forth to,
So
I had a business.
you've had some very happy memories. Now you had a time, there was a time where you felt like a failure as a songwriter, and you reached the depths of despair. How did you go about turning that around and finding your true identity?
Yeah. Well, what helped you? I wrote this book we'll get into called A Crazy Journey and Finding
Yeah, I
My
was
True
going to ask you about
Identity.
that too. Oh yeah, thank you.
Yeah. But again, this was part of it. I, when I moved back in 2017, and of course 2020 hit, a couple years later. But when I came back, I'm like, did I give up on this dream or what? But it was time to come back. Business wasn't going well. I had a great woman here in North Carolina. It was just all things led to coming back. And I felt like a failure. Although the last 40 years, Johnny, I've got to hang out with some of the greatest people in the world, meeting, pro athletes, NASCAR, wrestlers, like I mentioned, a lot of the great people. I've got to write songs with some of my greatest heroes in the songwriting world and become friends with a lot of them and the community. I've just had an unbelievable journey, a crazy journey, Johnny. But I didn't get that big hit song I went for. I went there to Nashville to be a big hit songwriter. I have a lot of friends that are doing it. If they could do it, I could do it. Things didn't work out that way. I felt like I let myself down. I felt like I let my friends and family down, my loved ones. They were always cheering for me. But I came back, I didn't get that big hit song.
Hmm.
And Johnny, for 40 years, my identity to myself has always been my job. It's a big mistake that people make. Your identity is your job. Hey, I'm the number one salesperson in radio. Hey, I'm the guy that gets to go and hang out backstage. Hey, I'm the guy that's doing this to myself. I mean, I never had an ego. I was never better than anybody. But my ego has always been my job. Not my ego, my identity.
Hmm.
But my identity is when I moved to Nashville, I'm going to be a hit songwriter. I'm in the songwriting business. I get to go to great parties. I've met a lot of people. I helped others with their dreams. I mean, I got to work on CMA, CMT awards. I got tons of my friends into those shows because I was working them with the seat fillers to get them at the award shows and so forth. I, was blessed to meet and know a lot of people. A lot of people knew me. Then I moved back. I'm like, I failed. I failed everybody. I didn't get that big hit song. And darn it, that's what I went for.
Hmm.
I already had my life planned. I'm going to get those big hit songs. I'll go move up what I've later call that invisible ladder. There's a visible ladder in every business, no matter what you do. Okay, when I get to this, they're going to think more of me. When I get here, when I get that big hit song, they're going to have more respect for me. I'll start writing a bunch of number ones. I'll go be even cooler and hang out with the big hit writers, and that's an invisible ladder in any industry. If you're an architect, you may start locally and you may get bigger. Well, when I get those big projects, by God, I'm really going to be respected. They're really going to think the world of me, whatever your job is. And it's not that way. It's that invisible ladder that gets you. It's comparison. It's what you do. And that's what I was doing. And so when I came back, I failed. I didn't know what I was going to do. And Kathy, my awesome woman of many years, gave me this book to read, Johnny. And the book is called You Are Beloved by Bobby Schuller. His grandpa was Robert Schuller, be a great minister, was on TV all the time. He had an influence on me, real positive messages. And you can do anything. Tough times never last, but tough people do. Those kind of messages. And, and I read a lot of books like this. But Bobby Schuller's book had something in it, like one of the first pages. It's called Identity, the identity statement. And I started looking at this and I read it over and over. And it helped save me. The identity is, I'm not what I do. I'm not what I have. I'm not what others say about me. I am a beloved child of God. I will not hurry. I will not worry. And Johnny, I kept reading those messages, read the book a couple times, and I learned my identity, my job, my career, my goals. That's what we do. It's not who we are. And once that got in my head, I just said, you know what? God left me here for a reason, Johnny. Hopefully to help others, to help other creators, to help other people realize that job, our goals, our dreams, our life, that's what we do. It's not who we are. We're a beloved child of God. That's what's most important. And once I learned that, I just realized, okay, that was just part of my journey. I'm
Wow.
okay, I still got things to do in life. Lord left me here for a reason. And things started to get better for me. And, a couple years later, I wrote a book. And that was a great therapy too, John.
And so tell me, okay, several things. How you ended up getting the number one song, number one. You turned your scars into stars, and you did get it from feeling that you were a failure. You did come up with a number one song. Tell me about that. What's the name of that song, and how did you come up with that? Did you create that?
Yeah, that was I Talk to God. It went
That is
number
I
one on
Talk
the
to God.
country Christian chart.
Oh,
Yeah,
that became.
I had other independent artists cut my songs, put them on albums and so forth. I mean,
So that song, that number one song is I Talk to God. It is, okay.
yeah, number one on the country Christian chart.
That's really something. That's amazing. Those are great memories that you're sharing. It's really something. It's amazing your life. It really is something. You've also written a book now. That's the book that you sent me. Tell me about what is the name of the book? What inspired you to write the book? How can people find it? Talk to me about different aspects of the book.
The book is called The Crazy Journey in Finding My True Identity.
Okay.
And that has the stories of meeting and work with people in the entertainment business. It has my story, from the early days of, meeting people, before I got into radio, sports people, things like that. Something about famous people, just meeting them, maybe get to talk with them a little while. It was inspiring to me. It's pretty cool. And that story of my life, and then the story of, like I say, when I started meeting, I started the book off with, hey, why not start with the biggest, Paul McCartney? Tell those stories. So in that, I have broken up to like the rock and pop world, meeting work with them, meeting my all-time favorite band, Chicago, and I was working with a company for events. They brought music events to Nashville. And so finally got to talk with Chicago and got to know some of those people. And it just goes through to have it broken out in pop and rock, some of the people. And then pop, R&B, and hip hop, Prince stories with Prince, Run DMC, MC Hammer, Tone Loc, Flava Flav, hanging out with him, introducing him to a guy named Muggsy Bogues that was a basketball player. I broke it out to my country music adventures, meeting some of the big artists, hanging out with them, what I learned from them, from Garth to Taylor to Shania Twain, the band Alabama, people like that, times at the Grand Ole Opry. And then my move to Nashville and some of the stories that we told about Nashville, working in sports and entertainment, like wrestling ring announcer, tennis. I've been blessed to hang out with some of the world's biggest tennis players. I used to hang out in Hilton Head and so forth. And authors, some of the authors that I've met and became friends with, and some of the entrepreneurs. And then through all of that, my testimony, which I highlighted about feeling like a failure, to finding my true identity.
Wow.
And I have some great people, friends that have endorsed the book that I really appreciate, things like that. And then I have some bonus stories, but in every one of those stories, Johnny, you read the story and then it has what's called the takeaway. In 2020, I had all these stories in my head, and I always said I need to write a book just for the heck. I just get it out of my head. 2020, we remember that year. Kathy said, go write your book. Get all these stories out. She's tired of hearing the stories, And so I just started on a Word document. And I just started typing all these stories. And I still have like a museum in my garage of every concert, 99% of my concert tickets, hundreds of concert tickets through the years, autographs, photos. So I just went down through them. Every one of them has a story to me. And I just wrote unedited, like, over 100,000 words, way over 100,000 words. I said, I get them out. And it's like I could be driving down the road and hear a song like, oh, yeah, that's Billy Preston. I sang on stage with Billy Preston. I need to tell the Billy Preston story. Make those notes. Or you hear other songs or see people on TV or basketball players or whatever. And so I just got to tell those stories. So I typed them all unedited. Then I kind of paired them up with, about what section. And after getting all of that out, it was therapy for me, gave me something to do every day during 2020. I said, okay, that's out. I don't know what to do with it. Johnny, I let it marinate for 2 years. Like, it's in there. It's on the Word document. I don't want to see it for a while. Then early 2023, it's like, okay, what can I do with this? How can I make it hopefully a positive book, hopefully an inspiring book? And what can people learn? So I did some editing, trying to pick out which stories to put in and out, what to do with it. Okay, big deal. I've done this. If I was reading this book, I don't know, how did this kid from this small town, St. Albans, West by God, Virginia, get to do all of this stuff? So at the end of every chapter, here's how I did it. I took chances in life. I learned to network, to build relationships, to help others, and do my best and set goals and work backwards from them. And through the years, we all take our lumps. We all have tough times, but tough times never last. Tough people do. But at the end of every chapter, it's how did I get to do this? Here's the story behind that.
That's very entertaining. That's very inspiring. It sounds like you've lived it, and because you're able to help people and network very well with people. That's by helping others, you're helping yourself. It's called karma. What goes around comes around. You're sending out positive karma and vibrations to the people that you meet. And so, Joe Turner, you inspire you really inspire people and everything. And you touch the minds, bodies, hearts, and souls of everyone you meet, including myself right now talking to you, Joe Turner. That's phenomenal. That is blazing hot and awesome. That's really something. Also, I want to give a shout out to Bruce Wozniak. This interview wouldn't have been possible if it wasn't for my friend Bruce. Talk to me, tell me how you met Bruce, and I'll tell you how I met him.
I saw Bruce on Facebook, a couple of my friends, Mark Allen Barnett, and a couple of people that he interviewed. I'm like, that's ringing a bell. I've met him somewhere. And so I looked him up, sent him a message. Hey, I wrote this book. And, you interviewed my friends. He said, Dope, I was at your house years ago. I came to one of those third Sundays when I was in Nashville. He said, that was a great time. And he told me more about his podcast. And he said, man, I'd love to have you on my show. So we set it up. I taped his show, Now Hear This. And from there, he told me about you. And so I'm blessed. And here we are. You and I are networking, building a relationship, going to help each other somehow.
You know what? I labeled him. What happened was I interviewed 3 of his clients. I think he reached out to me when I reached out to him to begin with, and then he reached back out to me. And then I interviewed 3 of his clients, and then he said, make me a guest. And based upon what I heard, I was very impressed. I labeled him the podcast king because he has over 500 podcasts and everything. And he's very inspirational himself. Yes. I remember he had a story where he was at a songwriting festival, and the girl did not want to get up and sing. And he told his client, he said, listen, we didn't go this far for you to turn back to stop. You're going to get up there and you're going to do it. I was impressed by that and everything. And of course she did. But it's just the way he comes across. He comes across so positive and so inspirational. And it's phenomenal. I mean, I never met him personally, but I really enjoy talking to him. And, I'm on his email list, of course. for Now Hear This Entertainment. And, has all the various podcasts. But when he told me about you, I thought, wow, this is phenomenal. This is really this is a guy I got to talk to an interview. I've just got to.
And
And
we're blessed. What about one of my sayings that with every chapter, I begin it with a positive saying from usually someone you've heard of, like say a Zig Ziglar, just authors, songwriters, whatever. Start with a positive and end it with a positive, somehow tie it into that story, the theme of the story. And then over the years, I've developed a couple of my own. And one of them, that I've mentioned a couple of times in the book, is God sends people on our journey to keep us on our journey.
What a journey you've had. Now you're a fan of, my dad, may rest in peace. My dad was a fan of Zig Ziglar and Bob Proctor. Bob Proctor used to say, if what the mind can believe, the mind can achieve. Don't get older and say, I wanted to have, be, and do all those things, and I never did it. Do it when you can, when you're healthy, when you're able to. And also don't associate with negative people, thoughts, or things, or they'll rob you of your lifestyle, like robbers in the dark. And he's right. Dale Carnegie, too. I remember reading that growing up, How to Win Friends and Influence People. That's something you also read. Yeah.
Yeah. And we don't know how we're going to help someone. If you have time for another story, we don't know how we're going to help someone with our life, with our testimony or our ideas. And I think back to through the years, I mentioned the cheerleaders with the Beach Boys. Another one, you don't know how you're going to change someone's life. In Charlotte, DOAK, MC Hammer were coming to town in about 88. It was going to be a Friday show right before Easter. That afternoon, I get a call from the promoter that says, DOAK, the equipment, instead of going to Charlotte, North Carolina, for somehow went to Charleston, South Carolina, the CH Factor. So we're going to reschedule the show for Tuesday. I said, okay, it was Bill Washington out of DC. I said, so Bill, here's an idea for you. Are the guys in town? He said, yeah. I said, how about bringing them over to our radio station at 8 o'clock tonight, Friday night? They could be on the radio with our nighttime DJ, 8 to 12. And we'll hype the show some more. Let everybody know, sorry, we're not there tonight, but we're going to be there Tuesday. And so Hammer and DOAK were there in our studios. At midnight, we walked down the steps and on our parking lot in Charlotte. And there's a couple girls, surprise, right? But what was cool, what was great, you don't know how you're going to affect someone. These girls start saying, hey, Hammer, listen to this girl sing. And so this girl started singing. Her name was Tynetta Hare. And he listens like, wow. He said, girl, you're on my next tour. I said, don't get her information for me, will you? So I wrote down her number, phone, all of that good stuff. Had that, handed that to him. And you know what, Johnny? Hammer came into town Tuesday, back to, to Charlotte on Tuesday. We had a good time before the show. A couple of months later, Tynetta Hare is on tour for Hammer's big tour. So my idea to have him on the tour, on the radio, changed her life. She was on tour. She was on an album. I think her and another guy recorded a song that was on the Rocky album. She's touring with Hammer, and her life changed. I stayed in touch with her mom for a little while. Told me what the tour and stuff was going. I never talked to her again, but Tynetta changed the life of a friend of mine that I ended up meeting years ago. This guy used to go to the clubs. As a white guy, he'd go to the clubs up in Minneapolis. She saw him dancing on the floor and introduced him to the BK Knights. You remember those shoes in the 80s? Hammer endorsed them. And this guy ended up in a commercial for BK Knights shoes. Years later, he moves to Nashville. I'm telling him the story. I said, I got this girl, I forgot her name. She was singing with MC Hammer. He said, that was Tynetta Hare. She saw me in a club. She got me in that commercial. It's on YouTube. And how he and I become friends. So you don't know, but you changed her.
So if people get to be in the right place at the right time, they can get the opportunity and they get a break.
Yeah, and she was prepared. Her story, she was prepared for that audition. So, and I've tried to change other lives. I did it with some kids, another story with asking a teacher, why do they not teach positive thinking in school? Because she had looked at my bookcase when she was visiting me in Charlotte and said, what are these books? Think and Grow Rich, Magic of Thinking Big. Who are
Oh yeah,
these
it's
authors?
Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. That's right.
So from there, she started teaching those what she ended up calling success strategies to kids. Their lives changed, and her life changed because of it. Because you ask a question, I said, Deb, why do they not teach this in school? I would have loved to have confidence when I was in school. I didn't have
Yeah.
inner confidence as a kid, and so we made a difference there. So that's what we got to do in this world: is make a difference, help others, and don't get caught up in your job thinking that's your identity. That's what you do. It's not who you are.
So basically, it's not what you do; it's who you are. Is what you're saying? Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah, you're a great you do a great job with podcasting. That's what you do. That's not who you are. You're a great person, Johnny.
DOAK, let me tell you something. Yeah. In fact, podcasting is very popular.
Yeah.
But the thing is, my show is actually better than a podcast. See, a podcast, you could only hear it, right?
Right.
On my show, you can hear it, you can see it. It's a video. It's a Zoom Entertainment video, karate video cast entertainment show.
Right.
I'm the only one that starts the show off with a karate kick. Of course, no one else does that. And so it's a video cast too. You can not only hear it but see it. See, so
Yeah.
that's what makes it even better. There's nothing wrong with
You're making a
podcasts, though. I mean,
difference.
they're popular.
Yeah,
Remember,
you're making a difference, Johnny.
what?
You're making a difference with people that see your broadcast.
Right,
Hopefully they get inspired.
a video cast. That's right, video cast. That's
Video
right.
cast.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, it started with the pandemic. My friend and I, I never heard of this. Another friend of mine said to me, "Well, the shows are all going on Zoom." I never heard of Zoom,
Yeah.
and we started doing it. My producer Bill Silky and I, and we've been doing it. And now you're the 72nd episode. We've been doing it ever since. I've got some other shows lined up too. Like I told you, I've got 3 other ones. But your name is Doak Turner. It was your turn first, and yours is very special and very interesting to me. It really is, and I'm really glad that I'm doing this with you. Really.
Thank you. Thank you. And by the way, you mentioned to let people know, where can they get A Crazy
Where can the
Journey?
people get this book now? This wonderful, inspiring book of yours.
Thank you. I have a website called acrazyjourneybook.com.
Okay.
Again, acrazyjourneybook.com. You can order the book there. Or if you would like a signed copy, email me, or I'm on Facebook, Doak Turner or Doak Turner Carolina. Or you can email me, doak at gmail, DOAK at gmail.com. You can email me or reach out on Facebook. Like I said, there's 2 different Doak Turner Facebooks, Doak Turner Carolina. And send me a message and I'll give you the details of how to order a signed copy. Just like I sent you one this week. I believe you have it, right?
Oh, yeah. When I get the chance, I'm definitely going to read it. I just.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. My sister said she wants to read it too. I said, let her read it sometimes. Oh, yeah, of course.
Great. Let me know if you like it. If you like, any
I believe I will like it. Now, did you self-publish this on your own, or did you go through a publisher?
I know I did. I self-published, and here's how that happened. You go back, you build relationships with people. For 15 years, I had a client called Disc Makers, owned by Tony Van Veen. Disc makers in the music business. If you want to put together a CD, you put it together, you send them the songs, they put together the CD, your CD project, your album. They were 15-year clients of mine in Nashville. I had a business called Nashville Muse, which connected the music industry and let you know who was playing where around town for the songwriters and other events going on. Well, Tony came on in 2003. He came on early 2004. I started it in 2003, sent it out every Monday, the Nashville Muse, and let everybody know again, where the different songwriters are playing and other fundraising events. Started selling advertising. Tony was one of my first advertisers. And I built a relationship with him. He came to Nashville. His company ran a national contest. I said, Tony, I'll pick you up at the airport. You know, one of my favorite things. Pick him up at the airport, help him out, and introduce him some people around town that they should meet. I spent the day with this guy, with Tony. And for the next 15 years, he was a great client of mine through all my businesses. Well, Tony expanded, and what he was doing for the music, the creators, he started something called Book Baby. Go bookbaby.com. I knew Tony, we're friends, you know, cell numbers, all of that stuff. I knew I could trust Tony. I knew he had this great company. Went to his website, checked it out. I called him, said, Tony, I have this book. What do I need to do? He said, I'll hook you up with my best person, of which he did. And they would walk me through, here's what to do, how to send it. And December of 2023, I received a shipment of a couple hundred of these books from Book Baby. And I have a big database, and my friends on Facebook from the years, I just started promoting on Facebook, reached out to people, text, things like that, let them know. I've sold several hundred copies, of the book. But yeah, self-published. And
That's
I've done a
phenomenal.
couple signings and a podcast and so forth. I have some signings lined up for next year.
Oh, okay. I was going to ask you about that. Yeah, autographs. Have you had any meet and greets and done any autographs as being such a great, songwriter and everything and author?
I'm sorry, my autographs. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I missed your question,
No,
John.
I said, have you ever done or are you going to do, if they haven't, meet and greets, signing autographs to, for people that buy your book and also that want to become songwriters or people who already are songwriters anyway and authors? Have you done meet and greets and signed autographs yourself?
I'm setting those up. Like I
Okay,
say, I've signed the books to send them out. I'm going to set them up. I need to work harder on that around my local area here on Lake Norman.
I
And
see.
in April, I will go to my hometown of St. Albans, West Virginia. They have a series of local authors to come and speak about their books and sign and sell them at the St. Albans Library. Again, that will be in April. We're setting and confirming all that date. So that's one of my next goals is to focus and get some more signings in the areas.
I see.
And, if somebody wants me to come and see them or talk. I did go to a Rotary Club. I need to get with more civic groups.
Hmm.
I spoke to a Rotary group about identity and a little bit about the book and sold some books, signed them, people bought them. And one of the greatest things is to talk to the Rotary Club. I started by saying, what is your identity? Tell your neighbor. And I bet you're going to say, my identity is about my job. And everybody starts shaking their head. You're the boss. You own this company. You're a banker. You're a lawyer, right? That's your identity. Yeah. And I kind of explained that, my story to them. And at the end, that's selling several books. The lady came up to me and said, Doak, thank you. I said, you're welcome. She said, no, really. She said, 2 months ago, I moved here. Me and my daughter moved here to Lake Norman in the banking business, the financial business. And just 2 days ago, I asked myself, what's my identity now? Because I had it up, knew a lot of people in St. Louis area. But what's my identity here? She said, now I found it. I said, yeah, what is it? She said, I'm a beloved child of God. Yeah, and this other stuff's what I do. So it helped her a lot. So that right there made that worthwhile.
How did you meet? Now you say you met a lady and everything. You have a girlfriend. So how did you meet the girlfriend?
Kathy?
Yeah.
Several years ago in Charlotte, she had started this little thing, single professionals. We'd meet on Fridays and this is in the 90s, so before we had all this technology. A friend of mine at the YMCA said, hey, there's a really cool group that gets together. Said it's not a dating service or anything, just a single professionals getting together at restaurants and so forth. And he gave me the number. I called, and it was, this is Kathy. This week we're meeting at such and such, such and such tavern at 6 o'clock. I'll be the girl wearing this red sweater or whatever, and come on over. And so every Friday or whatever, we would get together, different restaurants. Like that's a great woman. The more I got to know her, and one thing led to another, and we'd get together and play kickball and things like it. Just a bunch of single professionals, and one thing led to another. So the third time I asked her out, she finally went out. So and so we dated for 4 years, broke up for a year, and I moved to Nashville. She said, you got to go for your dreams, and she was a teacher here, and still had a few years before she retired. And we stayed in touch, but got together for a little bit in 2010, but I was still all about Nashville, all about the music. And then finally in 2015, I came to my senses. We got back together, and I ended up moving back here in 2017 at the end, and been very, very blessed. For some reason, a woman still loved me, and she's the one that gave me that book that turned my life around.
Wow.
Still does it, and I know I've never been happier. And God had another plan for me.
That's phenomenal. So you're together. Did you get married, or you're just
We will. We've had some family challenges, but some other things that have been more important. We took care of her parents. Her father passed away 2 years ago. They were living with us when we moved here to Lake Norman. And then she has her mom that was here, and then she's been in a local nursing home for almost a year.
I see.
So we've had other things to do besides go to the beach and get married and go from there.
Well, all's well that ends well. I congratulate you on that.
Thank you. Thank you. Just again, another blessing that that didn't expect.
I want to ask you now, DOAK, have you had several things. First of all, have you ever done any commercials or jingles in any of your songs? And also, have you ever written a song that you had to rewrite? There's another, and then there's a third one. Have you ever done a song in which you're not familiar with the topic? All three of those questions.
Yeah. You mentioned commercials or writing songs for hire.
Commercial, jingle, yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I believe it's probably somewhere in 2005, 4 or 5, something like that, in Nashville. This convention was coming to town. I'm trying to think of the exact words, but it's products like manure and sanitation and things like that. I forgot the exact title of that industry. It's a big convention. And the gentleman called and said, you're a songwriter. We always have a songwriter and an artist come and make up songs for people at our convention. So can you do it? Like, yes, be glad to do that. And so I got with a friend of mine, Dave Gibson, that was a hit songwriter. And that they gave us some subjects and people to write about for their convention. Like the one was about a Mary. She was a salesperson. And it's a biosolids convention. That's it. It's a biosolids convention. It came to me. Manure, stuff like that, the septics and all of that. And so like with Mary, we wrote a little song called, Mary could sell you a bag of brown stuff with a smile on her face. The other guy's name was John, so we wrote Big John. Bad John. And but telling his little story. And what happened, we wrote the songs, I sent it to the guy. And the first morning of the convention, they brought Dave and his wife. Dave was, again, a big time hit songwriter. Wrote a song called Ships That Don't Come In for Joe Diffie, and some Alabama songs, like 6 #1 songs, and a great performer. And Dave got up and sang those songs for the convention. Then they said, we come to the chorus, everybody sings, so we called them the Fecal Light Opera Choir. And everybody was singing. We got paid about $2,000, $3,000, something like that, and we split it. Dave and I sat down and wrote those songs, for hire. So yeah, thank you. You know, that was fun. But yeah, Biosolids convention jingles we wrote for them that year. But no, I have not had anyone a jingle commercial
No.
or anything yet.
When you wrote any songs now, is there any songs that you had to rewrite or also, or is it ever do a song in which you were not familiar with the topic at all?
A lot of times we like to write what we know something about, or we make up. But no, if it would be tough for me to say write a song about I'm sailing in I'm on a Navy ship. That's not me. That's not my life. I don't know. I could throw some ideas together or look up ideas that go with that. But no, most of them I've known about or we've made stuff up about.
Do you ever have to rewrite any songs at all?
Oh, absolutely. Uh, a good song you write, a greater song you rewrite.
Mm.
Go back and rewrite it to make it better. Sometimes it's okay, this is where we are. Let's get back together next week, Johnny, and let's work on this song again.
Wow.
Let's rewrite this chorus. I'm looking at it, or that story just not right. There's something missing. We can make it better. Sometimes you just write and you got to step away from it for a little while and then come back. Right.
Nice.
Sometimes,
Yeah, but let's ask you
a
about
half
writer's
hour
block.
later, you're through.
If you have writer's block, do you ever have that?
I've never had writer's block per se, because I have plenty of ideas in notebooks and on my phone. I've got thousands of ideas. Let's sit down. Let's throw it back and forth. Let me throw some ideas, see what rings to you. What does that mean to you? And, we went from there.
I see. You have any advice for aspiring people who want to be a success like you as a songwriter and also as an author? Any advice for them?
Yes, thank you. If you're a songwriter out there, you don't know what to do, keep writing. Find people in your local music community. Go out and support them where they're playing in the local venues and build relationships with them. One of the best things I did, I joined an organization, NSAI, Nashville Songwriters Association International. And the website is nashvillesongwriters.com. Go on that website, join. They have workshops. They have workshops all over the country. There may be a local workshop that meets a block from where you live. You don't know. But go and look through the states and find your local workshop. Join, call the Nashville office. Every spring, they have what they call spring training. They may call it something else now, where you come to Nashville for a couple of days. Publishers will listen to your songs, give you feedback. You can get feedback on your songs every month by sending them in. Local songwriters where you live can give you feedback, but build relationships and get out. If you write lyrics, you don't know what to do with them, find you someone that plays guitar or keyboards. Start co-writing with them. Go get a book. One of my favorite songwriting books is The Craft and Business of Songwriting, 3rd edition. John Brahaney is the author. Craft and Business of Songwriting, 3rd edition by John Brahaney. If you look on the back of the book, you might see someone you've heard of that endorsed it. My endorsement is on the back. John and I became friends, and his first book, The Craft and Business of Songwriting, helped get me on the right to understand it's a business and it's a craft. The 2nd edition helped me tremendously. I built a relationship with John. He came and stayed with me in Nashville. We hosted a party. I hosted a party for him. And this is like the Bible for songwriters, because it talks about the craft, but it's also the business, what to do. And that's one of the best books. That's some of the best advice I can give. And reach out to me, DOAK at Gmail or on Facebook. And I'll be glad to help you, answer you, guide you to some other resources for you. There's some great.
How have you ever had? How have you been able to handle? Have you ever been able to handle criticism of your songs, and how have you been able to deal with rejection? Also, that's part of life, especially in entertainment.
It is. We write these songs. We write our first songs. We think they're brilliant. If you play them for a relative, they love it. That's the greatest song that relative has ever heard. And so when you take them to, say, Nashville, and you play them for publishers, they're going to be encouraged, like, that's a good idea. But you know what? The verse and the chorus sound the same. You didn't put enough pictures in your song. No, show me, don't tell me how you feel. Listen to these hit songs. What do? You get to the chorus, it changes from the melody of the verse. They're going to encourage you like that. And you take that, I always took it as, well, wait till they hear my song. I got that song, when you're first going up there. And then you're going around and hearing other really good songs in a room. And either a hit writer or publishers or co-writer are giving you feedback on your song. You got to learn to say, hey, that's how I learn. Yeah, I don't have enough pictures in here. Or I'm writing love and above and heart and start as rhymes like everyone else has done. So you take it to that's how you learn. And that's that person's opinion. Now, it may not be exactly 100%. 2 or 3 people may give you a different critique, but you take it and you learn and you run with it. And rejection, that's part of life. If you're pitching songs and you think, I'm going to pitch it to this publisher and they're going to love it, and they're going to say, no, I got a bunch of songs just like that. But keep writing your songs. That's what you have to do. Rejection is part of life. We're in the sales business. No could mean not yet. You keep going. And that's what life is about. If you study history, you study songs, you study anything, any sales. I go back to, Colonel Sanders, Harlan Sanders had this chicken recipe. He was like 63 or 65 years old. He's driving around trying to get, I think he pitched it a couple hundred times till somebody finally gave him money for his chicken recipe. It worked out. You just got to keep going with the odds. The more no's you get, you're one more no to a yes. And you just got to do it and do what you believe in and listen to other people. But if you really believe in something, keep going with it. But be open to, how can I make this better? But you got to love what you do too. If we're still on, you got to love what you do. And you just got to keep going at it, keep learning every day. As a songwriter, keep writing those ideas.
I wanted to ask you, Doak. I did want to ask you if you had to do anything over again in your life and your career, would you do anything differently?
That's a good question. I'm blessed at how it turned out at this point. I think I would have listened a little bit more to my intuition. I think back to 1991 when I was selling radio advertising. Another radio station wanted me to come and interview with them here in Charlotte. I did not know what was in the very, very immediate future, but I was so loyal to the company I'd worked with since 1982. This is September 91. The number one salesperson at that other station asked me, she said, Doak, I'm retiring. I'm getting out of here. I'm going to have babies and all of that stuff, family. I really think the world of you. I wish you would come in and talk. I would really love for you to work with my clients. She wanted me to go in and talk. The job would have been mine. But I was so loyal to my company at Beasley Broadcast, my general manager and the team, I did not even go and talk to that station. About 2 weeks later, the whole radio industry changed. So that September 20th, 1991, not that it's instrumental in my life or anything, I just was moving into my dream condo I'd wanted to own for years here on Lake Norman. That morning, I was moving in, got a call, come to the office at, we have a 2:00 meeting. I go to the 2:00 meeting. I go early, make a phone call, get an order from a client in Pennsylvania. I'm like, boy, this is great. What a day. I moved in. I just moved. Everything is great. We go into meeting, and the radio industry changed that day, Johnny. Another station came in and took over our station.
Mm.
It was the very first time it ever happened. Until that day, you could only own 7 AM, 7 FM, and 7 television stations, and only one each per market. That was the very day that radio changed. I'm part of radio history in the fact I was at that station, the very first station that happened. A general manager got fired the evening before, and several of us got fired that day. And for years to come, radio changed. Monopolies happened. Now, if I could go back and say, you know what, that other station, at least I could do is go talk to them and see what they had, who knows what would have happened. And, you know, who knows? But it all worked out. I got into selling sports marketing with arena football after that. That led to some lifetime memories. And, that ended up getting me into the NASCAR Country Radio Network. So I was in the NASCAR business with a marketing company, and that was a couple great years. I did some incredible things that opened up doors for me in Nashville a few years later. And that happened because of someone that I had used to work with in radio that I had a great friendship with. So it all works out. Yeah, there's things we look back on. In Nashville, I made several mistakes. And, who knows? I tried to give so much and concerned about too many people and just staying focused what my goals were for getting songs cut and so forth. I sort of got diverted sometimes trying to keep going, but that's life. But I tell you, Johnny, it all worked out in the long run when I moved back to Charlotte, got my life together, learned my identity. I'd have never done that probably still living in Nashville, still thinking I am that whatever happens in the music business and the songwriting business, thinking that my life depended on and my identity was what songs have I got cut lately? What songs do you hear on the radio of mine? That would have been my identity. And I've seen too many people go down that road, Johnny. And bad things, tough times happen when they're not getting their songs cut anymore. They wonder who they are and they get lost a lot of times.
So it sounds like to me you wouldn't do anything differently if you had to do anything over again. You're a happy camper, right?
Right. I'm very blessed at this stage of life. Like I said, we've all gone through challenges, and the good Lord kept me going for some reason. Kept a great woman loving me, and I'm very blessed now. But again, it's the whole happiness came from finally finding my true identity is not in my job, my career, my goals, my dreams. That's just what we do.
That's great. So all's well that ends well. What was the name of that radio?
Hopefully it hadn't ended, Johnny.
No, it hasn't ended. No, of course you've got more. You have many more blazing trails to go forward.
Yes.
You just got started. You've got started. I'm sure you have many more great times.
Amen.
Experiences ahead of you, of course. But what was the name of that radio station? The one that you ended up, you weren't on anymore. They let people go. What was the name of the station that you were on?
Yeah, I was in sales, and the station was KISS 102 WCKZ in Charlotte, North Carolina. It was owned by Beasley Broadcast, and I'd worked with Beasley Broadcast in Charleston, West Virginia, my first radio job in sales, 1982. And then February 1st of 87, I moved to Charlotte, which was my goal to move to a bigger station into Charlotte and to eventually live on Lake Norman. And so thanks for, I'm thankful because radio built the foundation of the next 40 years of my life in one way or another.
I'm glad it worked out well for you. I'm really glad.
Thanks.
I was asking you about, in the past also about podcasts and other and also other podcasts that you were on, and also television. Did you ever get on any television shows and you've done podcasts too, I'm sure.
No, I would love to do that again.
Okay.
Maybe with the show about helping people with their identity and creative people and things like that, sharing some of my journey, things I've learned, possibly help them motivate and help people help them stay focused. But no, I've never done any television.
I see. I got you.
I've had
course.
a couple of my songs on television networks, like RFD Network and so forth. But no, I've never been on TV myself much. Yeah.
Well, you never know. You never know. Life's not over, and you never know. It may happen. It may just happen for you. I know you were on Bruce's Now Hear This entertainment podcast. I heard your podcast. I was impressed with the way Bruce interviewed you and also your life and your experiences. Very impressed. Not depressed, but very impressed.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm sure you've been on other podcasts too. You've probably been on many of them.
I have, and I enjoy them. Nikita Koloff, the world champion wrestler back in the 80s and 90s, he has a podcast called It's Time to Man Up. And Nikita is a Christian base. It's on the Truth Radio Network. You go to It's Time to Man Up, Google Nikita Koloff. I've been on 4 of his shows. He and I were friends. We go back to Charleston, West Virginia in the 86, I think. We met. I gave him a ride with another couple wrestlers to the airport one night after a match when I was a ring announcer. The next month he came to town, and I'm thinking, okay, he's met 300 people. I'm not going to make a big deal about it. I'm sure he's talked to a lot of people since then. He comes right up to Doak. Thank you for that ride last month. I'm thinking, how does he remember that of all the people he's met in the last month? And we started a friendship that's through the years have been a great friendship. And so you never know. And like I said, I've been on his show 4 times talking about identity and my journey and his journey, and asking Nikita about his identity as a wrestler. And after he got out of wrestling, he's a minister. So, so he has a great show, and Bruce and a couple other podcasts, in the entertainment business. And hopefully there's many more down the road. I enjoy them. I hope
you're safe there is. I believe there will be, Doak. Anyway, do you have any present projects that you're working on, Doak?
Recently, I've been in touch, and I'm going to start selling a digital radio station. It's called Kickin' Country 101. You can get the app on your phone. They're based out of North Carolina here in Marion. They're not a radio station with studios and DJs and so forth. Got one at the home base in Marion, North Carolina, then DJs around the country. Working the air shifts. So I'm going to start working on some sales for them. Work on getting some sponsors for that radio network. Again, it's digital only. And looking forward to that, and looking forward to promoting my book. Hopefully do some signings in the future. I know in April I go to my hometown at St. Albans, West Virginia, to the public library. They have a series about local authors. So I'm going to do a book signing and talk there, and hopefully I can get my book in some local places and continue its sales. I've sold several hundred copies so far on my own, and I just got to get out and work and use some other resources.
So you're going to have meet and greets in the libraries, it sounds like. Great.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So looking forward to that.
You could call it have a blazing hot fun time with Doak over with a brand new book, a brand new amazing and blazing book. We'll have a great come on down.
I hope people that are watching this, if you'd like for me to come and talk to your Rotary, Civitan, Optimist Club, whatever, talk to your schools, be glad to do anything like that. Bring the books, talk about that, talk about identity. I believe I mentioned a little while ago that I spoke to a Rotary Club, and a lady came up to me afterwards. I was talking about identity. She said, thank you. Said 2 months ago, my daughter and I moved here to Charlotte from St. Louis. And she mentioned 2 days ago, I asked, what is my identity? She said, after listening to you, I found my true identity. It's not my job. So that made it worthwhile, Johnny.
Wow. She listened to you and she found her true identity, and she got a job because of you, right? Wow.
Yeah. So, if I can inspire other people like that, that is one of my goals. Do corporate speaking. Love to come out and talk to your group.
What I like about you, Doak, is you're a success. You're a winner, and you're inspirational. And you know what? But you're not a snob. You're very down to earth, and people like you. Very likable, and you attract people like a magnet. You do, celebrities and people in general.
Hey, Johnny, can I read something? You know, what we go through, sometimes our dreams do not come true. We get down, and I was discussing this with a friend of mine that was a co-writer. He wrote that song. He helped me write that song that you like, but he broke the mold. And when I
Right.
was really feeling down, you know, felt like that failure, as I've mentioned a few times in the last hour or so. My friend Mark Allen Barnett wrote something, and I put it in my book. It's so good, I'll put it in there twice. And I think it's something we can all relate to at times when that big goal doesn't happen, but we're trying. We're with our people. We're trying. It hadn't happened yet. Could I read just a short half a paragraph?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Will really help me?
Sure, go ahead. Go ahead, Doak.
Okay. My friend Mark Allen Barnett sent this to me in an email. It really kept me going during a tough time. I look at it like this. You made the major leagues. You wrote and were very good friends with writers, artists, publishers, producers. You learned all the ins and outs, back and forth of the industry. You were and are considered a pro and a friend by your peers. You developed a reputation that many revere today. You're known by one name and remembered very fondly. You're the equivalent of a Major League Baseball player that rode the bench but still played on winning teams. Not everyone who plays makes it to the Hall of Fame, but many are in the fraternity of Major League Baseball. You were that guy. We both were replacement players, back up to Lou Gehrig, Mickey Mantle, etc. Got to the show, never got all the way, but we earned our own places. You should hear all the guys I grew up with. They're all woulda, coulda, shoulda, and live out their glory days. I'm still living mine. And when we're going for big dreams, we may not make that Hall of Fame. By God, we tried. We gave it our best. We were, you know, hanging. We were working with. We were respected by our industry. So give yourself credit when those times happen to you, that you're not up there where you want. But by gosh, we're in there. We took our swings.
You know what? That's called persistence. If you
Amen.
have to have persistence, persistence can overcome resistance. If you give up, you're finished. You got to keep going. Let me share you a positive poem. I think you'll get a kick out of it, that I wrote a long time ago dealing with positive thinking. Very original poem. And here it goes. Positive thoughts make you hot. Negative thoughts make you rot. So be hot, don't rot, or else you'll go to pot and you'll lose a lot and you won't be a big shot.
Amen. I agree with you.
I thought you'd like that since you're so inspirational. Your story, your journey, your life, and what you've been through and how successful you have been. I thought you'd appreciate something like that.
Thank you. I do. I know things like that keep us going on our journey.
Of course, of course. You keep going in your journey, and even if you didn't get exactly where you wanted, you're still in there. You don't want to give up. You just don't want to, that's for sure. Because once you give up, that's it. My former boss said that to me. Once you give up, you're finished. He's correct. So
Right. Sometimes you got to make changes. You got to trust.
of
Got to make
course.
changes sometimes. Look, don't
Right.
ignore the red flags. And change can be great. It's been great for me many times on my journey. I didn't want to leave. I didn't want to leave radio. I loved it. I could not believe someone would take that away from me. But it all worked out, and I expanded more than I ever would have staying there.
You
And
found your
eventually we'd
true.
have all been fired. When you work in media, it's like Tom Landry said right after he got fired from the Cowboys. I met him and I saw him speak in Charlotte a month or two later. And here's one of the greatest coaches ever who got fired when the new ownership came in. And Tom said there's two kinds of coaches. And them that have been fired and them that are going to be fired. So that's life, isn't it, Johnny?
That's life, Doak. You're correct. That is life. By the way, now, do you have any future dream projects you haven't done that you really think you dream about and you really like to do in the future?
Projects just figure out what's next for me. keep going. I would like to help this radio station. I'd like to get out and speak to kids in schools. I would love, like I say, as I mentioned earlier, get out and speak to corporations, inspire people, inspire their teams, and help others, and somehow make this this book popular, and help others with their journey of life, and help them find their true identity. That's my goal. I don't know how I'm going to do it yet, but I'm working on ideas.
You're the man for it, for the job, because you have found your true identity. Like you say, it's not the job you're doing, it's who you are. And you've definitely succeeded. And I appreciate that. I think I give you an idea you haven't done yet that you may want to do in the future. You might want to have the Doak Turner story in a movie, a documentary about yourself.
That would be fun. I don't know. That would be fun.
Yeah.
But I don't know who would watch that one. Who knows?
Oh, you never know. You never know.
I'm open.
People that want to be inspired. People are looking for, you know how to lift people up. And that's very important in this life. You need to lift people up with your inspirational stories and what you've done. You're living proof of success of a man that you turn your scars into stars. I thoroughly admire all that, Doak.
Thank you. If it was a good, positive company, good, positive Christian company to do that.
You never know. It's just an idea. I don't know if it'll happen, but it may. It's just an idea. I just threw it out there. Okay. There you go. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, here's a time you've all been waiting for. Oh, wait, before we get into that, there was one more thing. There's one more thing I wanted to get into. If people want to find out more about you and your life, Doak, and they want to find out about you, tell me the links. Give me the links of the, the entertainment website, your Facebook page, YouTube channel, Instagram, Spotify, or maybe LinkedIn, or even imdb.com page, or perhaps you're on Wikipedia. I don't know. But anyway,
I'm on just about all of those. Facebook, it's Facebook Doak Turner, and also Facebook Doak Turner Carolina. There's a Facebook A Crazy Journey book, and also the website acrazyjourneybook.com, which has my information if you'd like to order the book on there. The information is on acrazyjourneybook.com. And my email is on there, doak@gmail, DOAK at Gmail. If you'd like to order a signed copy of the book, or send me a message on Facebook. I'm also on LinkedIn. Just look up Doak Turner on LinkedIn. I have about 22,000 connections there. A lot of in the entertainment industry and so forth. But there's a few of the best ones for you. Could go from there.
Yeah, okay.
PayPal, doak at Gmail, if you want to send me any money, and Zelle or PayPal.
Okay.
Yeah. But there you go. Those are the best. Like I say, the Gmail, doak at Gmail, Facebook. Those are the ones I frequent the most. I have a page. I haven't really worked it on YouTube very much. I need to start doing that again.
I see. Well, I thank you. You're very thorough, and people shouldn't have any problem with those links finding you. That's for sure, Doak.
Right.
Anyway, pardon me?
If someone could help, I don't know exactly how to go and set up a podcast, but I would, you talk about a project I just remembered. I would love to have a podcast called A Crazy Journey, and interview people about their journey, how they overcame challenges, and how they found their true identity.
Wow. I like that.
I would love to have that.
Yeah, I like that. That's something to shoot for. That's something you could very well do in the future, I'm sure.
Yeah, I just need some help on that.
Something to look forward to. Something that's exciting. You've done it. You're a man who's been successful and has done it. And so if anybody's to have a podcast like that, it would certainly be you, Doak. You're very qualified to do it.
Thanks. You're inspiring me. I'll go write that in my journal and my goals for next year.
Go for it. Go for it. Oh yeah. See, you should do it. Okay. You can do it, and I'm sure you will do it. All right. Well, anyway, Doak, now without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, here's a time you've all been waiting for. It's It's showtime with Doak Turner as we present the original music that he has created of several songs. And the very first song is called He Broke the Mold. We've been talking about that. So you're in for a real treat instead of a treatment. Have a blazing, amazing time. He broke the mold.
Born in 1931, small Carolina town, raised in a three-room shack, was the toughest kid around. OC's what they called him, lived through the Great Depression, went to school without shoes, but never let life get him. Was the local boxing champ, but he paid for every bruise. Never let bad circumstance be used as an excuse. OC is the hero, cause he never gave up. Google has his picture right beside the word tough. Been through hell here on earth, but he's first on heaven's roll. When God made OC, he broke the mold. When Korea hit in 52, duty called his name. Was the sole survivor when his Jeep was hit by that train. Doctor said he'd never walk, lost hearing in his left eye too. But he showed him there's no limit what determined men can do. Flipping houses, fixing cars with his daughter and his wife. With all that he's been through, it's a miracle he survived. OC is a hero, cause he never gave up. Google has his picture right beside the word tough. Been through hell here on earth, but he's first on heaven's roll. When God made OC, he broke the mold. Cancer hasn't got him yet, PSTD can't slow him down. Got baptized at 86 in Elkins Baptist in our town. Still the toughest man around, everybody knows his name. But he's always got a smile, and the light shines from his face. OC is the hero, cause he never gave up. Google's got his picture right beside the word tough. Been through hell here on earth, but he's first on heaven's roll. When God made OC, he broke the mold. He broke the mold.
Bravo, bravo. What a great song.
Thank you.
And you broke the mold, Doak.
Thank you. It means the world that you would play that and like it.
Thank you very much. It's phenomenal. It really is blazing hot. I have one more song now, ladies and gentlemen. And it's called I Talk to God. Let's go for that one.
I talk to God and I ask him what he thinks. He says, I don't. I know that you're never alone. I talk to God and it's a candid conversation. I say I'm afraid to step out in faith. I never seem to learn from my mistakes. Said no matter what comes, wherever you go, know that every stumbling block can turn ask him what he thinks, he says, I know that you're never alone, never ever alone. I talk to God.
What a beautiful song. What a beautiful song. Very
Thank you.
inspirational.
Thank you. Written with my friends, good old Rob Wolf. Hope he's looking down and smiling from heaven. And Lauren Sanders. We wrote that couple sessions in a publishing office in Nashville. Thank you for playing that.
And that was your number one song that you hit, right?
Yes, it was, but number one on the country Christian charts, and I think 2018 or early 19.
Wow. So you
So
were
that
able
was-
to, you found your true identity.
Yeah, that's it. Finally got that number one.
You finally got it. You didn't give up, and you did it. I really applaud that. That's phenomenal. That's really something. It's amazing and blazing.
Thank you.
Well, I want to thank you, really, Joe Turner, for being such a great, I can't say it enough, blazing and amazing, spectacular, and incredible, and unforgettable guest on the amazing original Johnny Blaze Show. It's really been a pleasure having you as a guest. The time has gone by fast. I found it fascinating. Everything you're talking about is just.
It's
And
an
I
honor
like
to be
that.
on your show.
Pardon me?
It's an honor to be on your show with you and the awesome Bill producing this show.
That's right. We have a great time, do we? Really do, both of us. Anyway, I want to say as we get ready here to close this show and wrap it up, I want to say to I always say to all my fans and friends, always keep a smile on your face and a song in your heart. And until next time, happy trails and blaze out.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to be a guest on an entertainment talk show, please send us an email at amazingorijgnalJBshow@gmail.com. All of our episodes will appear on YouTube and Facebook and receive over 3,000 views. Don't forget to sign up for our YouTube channel, and every guest will receive a complimentary DVD of their appearance on the show. Remember, we are much better than a podcast. And now, the amazing, original Johnny Blaze has just left the building. Good night. God bless.